Namaskaram everyone. Tarun Anna used to be an award-winning bodybuilder, and a few years later he is now a Kalaripayattu teacher. If you see these two photographs, you may not recognize it as the same person. So in this video we are going to understand his transformation journey, and as with a lot of us, Sadhguru has been the catalyst for his life as well. So last week I posted Spurti's healing journey video. It is about how she faced some unexplained cervical and spinal pains. She tried a lot of healing techniques like naturopathy, physiotherapy, and finally, after many months of struggle, it was through Tarun Anna's help and his Kalaripayattu and corrective exercises that she is finally on the path of recovery, and she's actually practicing Kalaripayattu now, which is amazing. And so it was during this conversation with Tarun Anna that I realized that his own story was so fascinating.
From a school time, I've been actively an athlete or a player in sport. It started with gymnastics for me in childhood, 15 years ago. So from that time, strength training, basic methods of strength training have always been there, and athletics along with it. So after 2 to 3 years of training in gymnastics, because this setup was by the government of Karnataka, we had a lot of people from the scene field come and train there. So these scene field people would either be huge bodybuilders, mainly for doing stunts and acting. I started to train them for flexibility, strength, tumbling, jumps, and stunts like that. That is where, for me, teaching started in my life. That I started teaching people. And these people wanted me to go and train in their facilities for their students. So these were aerobics gyms, bodybuilding gyms. So I got introduced to a different method of fitness and exercise. So that is when Arnold Schwarzenegger was a huge inspiration for me.
Yeah.
3-inch arms. I would dream every day and night watching his videos for 2 to 3 hours every day. And pumping iron is what his documentaries are called as. This was back in 2010. So I started liking the sport. Though there was aggression, physical exertion, whatever that is, I liked the results. That is an aesthetic body. Starting from head to toe. Of course, I admired every work that I did. At the same time, I started managing a gym. I rented a space and I started managing the gym and continued to study my chemical engineering at the same time. So morning 5 o'clock, start the gym and do the classes, do my training, have my food, go to college, come back, again personal training, bodybuilding. This is how life was for 4 years. The biggest support that I had all that time was my mother in all aspects. She would pack 5 meals before 5 o'clock in the morning. Which is not at all a simple task. And all the financial support initially that I could not, it took some time because I ate a lot. I ate what one should eat in one whole lifetime in a span of 4 years, most probably. And then bodybuilding exercise, at that time I studied a lot about dietetics, nutrition, strength training, how the anatomy, physiology, biomechanics of the human body is. So this 4 to 5 years laid the foundation for me for physical training. After graduation, I continued to be as a fitness coach, doing my yoga practices at the same time because I was initiated by Sadhguru for some of the Isha practices in 2010. But still, I wanted to do bodybuilding and things like that. I also competed in district level championships, university level championships.
I have to interrupt you here. Sorry. Priyanka, on the recent trip to Bangalore, Anna showed his picture where he had participated in the bodybuilding championship and that typical pose. And I was shocked. I mean, from that to now what he is and what he's
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I also, when I saw you all Vibhuti and all, I did not expect a Arnold Schwarzenegger story coming up.
Over the course of time, the next 3 to 4 years is when I also invested more time into training. And some things changed in me. And I thought, is this what I also want to give others? Is this the best I could do to myself? Is this the best that I could do to others? That is when I thought about even things like ecological footprint, sustainability, eco-friendly. I thought I am not at all eco-friendly. Is a thought that came to my mind. If you ask why, I have many reasons. So I slowly started thinking I don't want to compete in a bodybuilding contest. First thing, I stopped competing. Next thing, I didn't want to continue to grow the size of my muscles and pack more muscles. Something I had constantly went down. But I did not disrespect Arnold Schwarzenegger until date. He's an inspiration. And then in 2017-18, those years, I started learning Kalaripayattu online from Gurukulam Communication, an institute which is in Kerala. That is where Kalaripayattu training started for me in the year 2017, late 2017, early 2018. I continued to practice Kalaripayattu, mainly the leg swing methods and the bodybuilding. Much later, 2019, I happened to come across Sadhguru in person. And the same year, I had to enroll myself to Sadhana Pada. I didn't know why this happened, but I did. I stayed in the ashram for about 2.5, 3 years. I wanted to stay there full time, but I wanted to continue studying Kalaripayattu at the same time and also become a teacher once I had mastered to some extent. So I came out of the ashram, continued to learn Kalaripayattu.
So, one thing, you found Kalari on your own, or when they introduced it in Isha, you came to know? Because I think most of us have been exposed to Kalari first time in Isha only. But
yes, Isha is the cause. Otherwise, I would not even have known the word Kalaripayattu, especially the Samskriti children from childhood, because most of the seniors today are all my age or maybe one age younger. From that time, even I aspired to study Isha Samskriti and to learn Carnatic music. I am also learning Carnatic music now. And that way it is through Isha that I got to know about Kalaripayattu. But at that time, there was no opportunity to study. Even when I visited Isha in 2019, they didn't have the option to teach. But now there are courses Isha is offering and also teaching the volunteers who are in ashram.
Yeah. In terms of your friends and your family and all, how did they respond to this transformation?
Okay. And let me also add another strong point, which why I also wanted to stop bodybuilding type of exercises. Okay. Because doing exercises the same way, you're not going to build your body. If you want to do bodybuilding, that is increase the size and strength of the body in a different way, you have to exercise in a particular pattern. So what I started noticing was, because here we focused mainly on retaining the tension in the muscle for a longer duration of time and for specific number of repetitions. Okay, that is the way we could improvise the growth of muscle in the body. But on the other side, what I started noticing was this started bringing down the speed of nervous reflexes in the body. Much earlier, I was dancing, into athletics, running, football. But after doing bodybuilding for over 4 to 5 years, I started noticing that my reflex systems started becoming a little more dull. And I started to move even more slower. Okay, because that is the type of movements we did. What you practice, you become like that. Because you're training your nervous system. Okay, that is what's happening. You cannot, because nervous system only can signal the muscular system. So my reflex speeds started going down. And I did not like that to happen at all. So that is when I was practicing some Olympic weightlifting, which is more about speed along with strength. So I was training in a CrossFit facility. I was also teaching in the same CrossFit facility because I had experience with gymnastics. So slowly my bodybuilding changed into a little more athletics, gymnastics, Olympic weightlifting, which has got to do more about performance and not just appearance. So the biggest relief for my family after I did this was kitchen had much lesser work. Otherwise, I was always in this notion that every 2.5 hours I ate a meal from morning 4 o'clock to night 10 o'clock. Every 2.5 to 3 hours I kept eating and eating and eating for those 5 years time from 2009-10 to 2016-17. Every day, 5 to 6, 7 meals also. Every 3 hours means it's that, right? So the kitchen started getting relief. My mother's hands were not too busy. And I could start. And second thing is I could save more money, because this costed a lot to eat like that, consuming
Also
those
protein, right? You
meals.
probably need a lot of protein, and it might have cost.
That was just my notion that I needed more protein. Truly, there was no need, but I continued to have enough supplements. But I didn't have too many. I think I only had whey protein, casein protein, glutamine, creatine, and things like this at that time for 4 or 5 years. Nothing. I did not take any anabolic steroids or fat burners. I did not want to at all, because they would have a huge impact on the hormonal secretion in the human body, and they would totally deteriorate my health. So I did not want to do that. So mainly my kitchen got free and I could save more money. And thirdly, society, I think, except a few people who were asking me, you wanted to become Mr. Bangalore, you wanted to become Mr. Karnataka, what happened? But a few others who were in bodybuilding, they said, oh, it's a good thing. You don't want to compete, you're going to save a lot of money and time. That's what a couple of others told. And not too much of other comments from people, because many people did not know me as a bodybuilder. Except Facebook and Instagram. Facebook mainly at that time. Later on, my outlook started changing slightly. My way of dressing, my hairstyle changed slightly. People thought I'll become a saint or something. My dad also thought maybe he's going to become some sannyasi, probably. He's going to remain a bachelor and all that. That is how society, family all reacted. But family was actually happy that I'm not contending. Okay, bodybuilding is fine, but I was contending in competitions, right? So it would be very, very painful when it is approaching the contest, because extreme levels of fasting, going without water for a few days, going without salt for a couple of at least 14 days with salt tapering we would do, water tapering starting from 7-8 liters to 6 liters, 4 liters, 3 liters, 2 liters, 1 liter a day, half liter a day, 1 glass a day, half glass a day, few spoons only per day, like that. And again, slowly, soon after that, start increasing the food. This way, extreme changes to the body I did. So this is, I don't want to tell this is how it is actually done, but my approach was like that. And at least my mentors who were around me also intended me to do this. So for my body, it was a huge relief after I stopped contending. I wouldn't say bodybuilding, stopped contending in these competitions. Yeah.
See, the people who are doing bodybuilding, they might be thinking, right, of what to do next, because they've reached a certain level of bodybuilding. They could either just keep going on and on in that journey, or would you suggest, or what do you think?
I don't know, for various reasons, people might take up bodybuilding. If you sincerely ask me, I took up bodybuilding probably for some insecure reasons about me. Maybe I wanted to look bigger, Maybe I wanted to look stronger. Maybe because I was bullied by people because of my small and thin build. These kind of things I started with bodybuilding, though it got me into enormous amount of discipline. I never partied. I never drank. I never even had chocolates. For 4 or 5 years, I never even touched a pinch of white sugar. Okay. So that level of, discipline happened. So for people who are doing this bodybuilding, most people don't have the knowledge of why and what is going to be the consequences in the future. If they know the consequence, they will train better. So bodybuilding, instead, let's also say weight training. Weight training is what most people need, not bodybuilding. People can train with weights and resistances. Okay, weight training is a form of resistance training. People can definitely do that, because any work you do, say you're plowing the field or say you're climbing the stairs, you're working against a resistance in a simple way. Gravity is the biggest force against which you're doing all of these movements, right? Here, when it comes to weight training, they're using additional weights in the form of plates, barbells, dumbbells, cables, and things like that. If someone chooses to do this, they need a proper guidance, or they have to at least read a little about the human body as to how they can have overall development. Otherwise, they are inflating and pumping all the energy in one direction, and they have to face the consequence for that in the future, because that creates enormous amount of physical imbalance, which also creates imbalance psychologically, internal organs, and other functions. Definitely, it would create imbalance. So if someone prefers to do weight training, I also do some minimal amounts of weight training because I know the impact of what it is. So I still do some minimal amount of weight training, but they need a holistic approach, not just bicep, tricep kind of movement. They should address the body as a system. Then it will be good, and they will not have much side effects and imbalances.
How right now you've gotten into Kalaripayattu and yoga, and you said, I think you're looking at an integration of the two in some way. So tell us, like you're saying, you're also doing a little bit of weight training. So how do you see your future physical fitness activities panning out? Like, are you saying like an integrated model, or with more focus on specific aspects, or what are you thinking of?
So weight training, I don't intend to go deeply into it. For example, like barbell training, dumbbell, kettlebell, I'm not willing to get into that. But some minimal calisthenic movements, for example, say, even simple rope climbing, or to be able to do a pull-up, or to be able to do a push-up. These are some basic calisthenic exercises using body weight training. So I would continue to prefer and do body weight training mostly, not barbell, dumbbell, kettlebell type of training, because it will go too much away from what I'm focused. Because these will definitely help. Body weight training would definitely help even in Kalaripayattu yogic practices. I'm not at all against weight training. Okay, I'm telling this again. I personally choose body weight training over that. And integrating Kalaripayattu yoga exercise forms as a corrective measure to improve one's physical balance and to increase the performance, because sometimes it is extremely specific for me to address an issue. Because I have expertise in strength training, I will be able to address something very, very well. For example, the nair call, right? The nair call as a Kalaripayattu movement, standing straight leg swing. When you do nair call, for example, idathu nadandu valathu nair call. That is, you're stepping with left and swinging the right leg up. Sure. The left leg also gets enormously strengthened because left leg is the base, right, for stability. So you're building enough amount of strength on the left leg, and you're building a great amount of flexibility on the right leg. At the same time, you're building balance because one leg is up in the air. Okay. This way, now suppose you have a lot of stiffness in one of your hamstring, in one of your glute, or in one of your hip flexors, then we can even recommend, suppose you have a 10 feet space, from one end to other end, do idath nadandu valat, again idath nadandu valat, again idath nadandu valat. When you come from the other side, you do idath nadandu valat, valat nadandu idath, idath nadandu valat. This way we can fix the imbalances. So like this, using Kalaripayattu also, and also because I have more expertise in strength training too, I can correct that using exercises, body weight exercises. So I want to set up a space which would be like an institute to learn about these subjects, Kalaripayattu, yoga, exercises, mainly starting with understanding the human body, through a course, anatomy, physiology, biomechanics, nutrition, Ayurveda, and medicines like this, which will give an overall understanding of the body with practical experience that one has to train for 3 to 4 hours minimum every day to understand it too, experientially. That's what I'm looking at, along with, having an understanding of the herbs through setting up farm. So I have now purchased farmland of 5 to 6 acres with funds from people whom I am training already. And this place hopefully will come up in next couple of years close to Bangalore, with 2 hours drive from here. So that is what I'm intending to, and to have a school there for the rural children to come and study.
Wow, that's fantastic, Anna. It's so great. It's such an integrated and holistic approach you're thinking of. It's really wonderful.
Definitely.
By the way, is your farm coming next to Chikabellapur, or is it in some other direction?
Earlier I thought I would take something on the other side, but it was too expensive when I approached. Okay. Otherwise, I would have been glad if it was in the direction of Chikabellapur, because people could come there and still come to my place. It's on the opposite side.
Near Tumpur?
It's on the opposite. Towards Kanakapura. Which is south of Bangalore. Again, this way also you can reach Coimbatore.
And I had longer conversations about Kalaripayattu, and I will post another video soon. But if you have any questions about Kalaripayattu or corrective exercises and stuff, you can definitely post it in comments. I can get in touch with Tarun and maybe we can do another video, or he can address it also. You can of course also contact him personally on Instagram.